Like, I know I don't fit at Chick-fil-A. I mean, I'm probably acting a little extreme, but like, generally speaking, I'm more Popeyes than Chick-fil-A. I would be more of a Popeyes.
Popeyes apron for me.
I would be more of a Popeyes cashier than a Chick-fil-A cashier. If I had to be keeping it 100, I'm more of a Popeyes cashier. So.
You're listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
What's good, everybody? It's Alex Kamunya here. We are back with episode 110 of the Money Monopolizers podcast, and I'm here with my co-host Marlon Walls. Marlon, how you doing today?
I just noticed you said 110. I was like, dang. I feel like the 100 through 109 actually went by pretty fast.
Yeah, for in-person episodes. I mean, because that's, I think because we batched them too, and you know, a whole bunch of, because it's not like it's like 1 week at a time.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's one reason, but yeah,
I
they
forget,
definitely did.
Which segments were we in? Like the 60s? Like it took forever.
Bro, the 60s is nasty, bro.
Yeah, it was crazy. But no, that's just a testament to like everything that we like, how we've grown with this whole podcast. I'm not about to say I'm not starting the journey. I'm not starting the journey piece, but I just like that was special though, just to hear it at 110. So I'm very glad that we were able to achieve that goal now. So
you know what they say, the average amount of podcasts that people put out for a new podcast, you know what the average number of podcasts is?
What is that?
6. That's actually higher than I would imagine too. I'm surprised. Like that actually, I'm like, wow, people actually surprised me with that. 6? Most people, you know, quit after 3.
All right. No, that's a fact. Yeah, but yeah, I think for one, we're very blessed to be in this opportunity. So just, you said how I'm doing right now, feeling very blessed. Like this would be something that we.
You look a little tired.
I'm definitely tired. I don't care though, because just about I'm not gonna say the journey. The people that we get to meet just by putting ourselves in these positions, like just to get into this into the space that we're in today, like just as far as like the little venue space, like office space, we are able to meet different people. Like I don't really want to get into it, but the people that are in these rooms that we're just so happen to come across, that doesn't happen by accident.
Let's tell them what happened. So
sure.
I mean, we sitting here setting up for the podcast, and you know, it's whenever you're podcasting, it's something that's novel for a lot of people. It's not something you see. So for a lot of bystanders or someone walking by, they see lights, they see cameras, action now, but they see mics, they see stuff like that, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm interested. What are these two cats in here doing? So, you know, people come and people talk, and you know, you're able to meet people that you otherwise wouldn't have met if we were podcasting. So, you know, we're setting up, and this guy comes and, you know, introduces himself, you know, asks us about what we're doing, and then, you know, he brings us to his office and shows us kind of what he's got going on, his studio.
He got a whole podcast set for himself, basically. Like a whole studio setup.
Yeah, he don't podcast yet, but you know, he got a whole thing going on. He tells us about his business he's running. It's a huge business, probably, I'm sure, a multi-million dollar business, making high 7 figures. He's a very wealthy guy, and it's just like, you know, he was happy to connect with us. Now that's a connection we got in our network, someone we're definitely going to stay in touch with, and you know, it just goes to show, man, that what does it go to show?
Oh no, I'll tell you what it goes to show, because we'll keep talking about the same thing. I've said this so many times on the podcast. That is what luck is.
Yeah,
preparation,
that's what I want to
meeting opportunity.
Right.
That is all that this was. We are doing the actions that are necessary to put us in those positions, to have the credibility. What's up?
Oh no, go ahead. I'll say it after you go.
Okay, no, to have the credibility, to have the position to like where people actually want to pour back into you.
Yeah.
The people want to help somebody that is already doing action.
Right.
A lot of people want somebody to help them when they haven't done anything.
Right.
But if you show somebody that you're already like passionate about, like doing something for yourself and like putting forth the effort, that's when people want to pour into you. That's why that's a testament for us. Is just showing that by us doing this and sticking through it. Like when most people quit at 6 episodes, we're at 110. Now people are looking at us like, man, I want to be a part of your journey just because of the fact that you are doing something that is not normal, and that's what I like about you, and I want to be able to help you out along that way. So that's creating our own luck.
Exactly, and that's all. That's what it is. Because a lot of people will look at that, even that interaction with this guy, they will say, "Dang, like whatever comes out of that, right?" Mm-hmm. People are like, "Dang, y'all were lucky to meet him." But it's like, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess if you want to say that, we did 110 episodes of a podcast for over 2 years, and we stayed consistent with it and spent hours editing and putting out content and buying thousands of dollars worth of equipment. If you call that lucky, then yeah, I guess we got lucky.
Got super lucky then.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we got lucky. Go get lucky. And that, like you said too, like is for these people, even before that, like a lot of the people we've interviewed on the podcast, a lot of the guests we've had on the podcast. Like even now things are coming out of that. Like one of the guests we've had on the podcast was talking to him last week about partnering up on a 33 unit multi-family apartment complex deal out in San Marcos. Mm-hmm. And he's definitely wants to partner up because that's a market he wants to get into, and he's willing to finance the entire deal. And it's just about those kinds of things just come out whenever you are, and it's not to say go start a podcast, do 100 plus episodes, and that's what happens, but it's when you take action, like you said, those things happen. It does not look like that. Obviously, it's going to look different for everyone how those things happen. But if you take action, like I said, people want to be associated with you. People want to help, especially if there's someone in a better position than you, someone that's been doing it for a long time. Like this guy, this guy. Yeah, he was 60 years old, been doing this for decades, and he's like, sees two 25-year-old dudes, taking action. It's like, dang, I want to help those cats. I want to, mentor them. I want to, do that. And it's like, that's how you meet mentors. I don't meet mentors by going to IG DMs and saying, "Can you mentor me?" That's not how I meet mentors. You meet mentors by taking action and networking with people along the way. That is how you meet mentors. So there's just so much value just in that alone. Like every episode we come on is like something different, but like just in that, I wanted to talk about that segment or that interaction because I think there's so many things to get out of that. I mean, it's just crazy, man. Like this is a cheat code.
This is a big time cheat code, and I think I want to highlight how much of a cheat code it is, because one thing that he saw within us is that we are experts in something that he is not. Ooh. He knows about his practice. He knows about how to coach people, and he can be a mentor for us in that aspect. Yeah. But he saw within us that those guys, they have a whole travel setup. They have all the podcast equipment. They have 110 episodes. They've been doing this for a minute. I could learn from them. This is an even value exchange. I'm more invested in this now because I know I can add value to them, but more importantly, they can add value to me as well. Yes. And now we can build together.
Yes. And that's how networks and partnerships form that are like legendary. It comes out of some sort of equal value exchange. That's what people got to get. And that was a good point too, because he saw that we could, help him with his podcast. That's another way for him to get his message out, get more clients, those kinds of things. And yeah, man, it's kind of like, it's just so many things that can come out of just being in the right place at the right time. But it's at the end of the day, it's all because you just took action, and you just, because it's not even about, I can't even say being in the right place in the right time. It's just taking action, and you will be in the right place the right time if you take action. Because the place doesn't necessarily matter. The people I didn't know anything about this location that we picked for the podcast. This week. So at the end of the day, man, take action, and I promise you're going to see some crazy stuff happen. Just take action, keep your head down, man. Take action and keep your head down.
Opportunities come to those who take action.
That's a fact.
Jumping in DMs, hoping for an opportunity from somebody.
I want to see has that ever worked for anyone.
What's the conversion rate?
Very low, very low. But anyways, yeah. Before we get into our episode, of course, we got business updates.
It's time. I guess I got my swagger back. Keep them posted.
So, Marlon, it's mid-November. We're getting close to Thanksgiving. How are things looking now for you for the business? I know last week we kind of talked about, obviously, you had to kind of take a step back, those kinds of things. How are things looking now, and what's the perspective that you have for your business for the rest of the year?
No doubt. So one thing I'm really focused on now is more exposure. So I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, but I'm looking to actually get on more podcasts myself, because I know that there's only so much I can do by myself. And like especially when it comes to the rental cars, we want to continue to expand that business, but we want to also bring in other people to be able to help them out along the way as well. So moving toward the end of this year, we're looking to come up to a total of 20 vehicles that are within our fleet. And I've actually already did our first successful joint venture this past week.
Oh, really?
So we got our first car with one of our partners now, and we got other people that are also looking to partner as well. So anybody who's on the podcast listening, we're open to joint ventures. If y'all are looking to partner where we do the work for, like, as far as running the business, and you just have a car that you have sitting, like, we can talk about all the details of like the requirements that are for the particular vehicle, but we're looking to partner up and joint venture with more people now to continue to build up our fleet as well as help other people gain a form of passive income. So that's one thing. But then secondly, we're also putting out an ebook. So the ebook is going to be called 10 Ways to Automate Your Rental Car Business. So if anybody's looking to learn how to start their own rental car business for themselves, we're putting out that ebook now. So if you go to rebusrentalcars.com/ebook, you'll be able to pick up a copy of that for yourself. And I'm actually going to leave a discount code for anybody who is listening. You'll be able to use coupon code MONEY in order to get that ebook for a special offer for anybody who listens to our podcast. Mm-hmm. So that's just a couple things that I came up with between last week and this week, and when it comes to, like, as far as moving forward within our business and, like, just being able to start reaching out and pulling more people along the way as well.
Yeah, that's dope. I think that's a great way to also scale the business without necessarily having to leverage your own credit or capital even. So that's a dope. Partnerships in any business can take you super far, because a lot of people say it's almost like that whole premise of, like, especially people want to get into real estate, into business in general, you want to have 100% of everything. Mm-hmm. Right? You want to have 100% of ownership, you want to have 100% equity, you want to have 100% of the cash flow, you want 100% of everything. So people are hesitant to partner, but they don't necessarily realize that, like, would you rather have 100% of $100,000, or would you rather have 50% of $1 million? Right? Exactly. It's obvious, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's, I think, a great way to always look at business in the sense of, like, how can I leverage other people to help me get there faster, right? And how can I provide them value as well? So I think that's dope, because that's going to help a lot of people get into the game too.
I think that's a key point what you just made with it all. It's not necessarily you leveraging other people, because if there's an even value exchange, like we talked about earlier, it's no longer like y'all are both benefiting. It's a mutual value exchange. Right. So you're helping us out, we also help you out. That's where the value is formed. That's why it's a no-brainer partnership if both parties are getting value from it.
Yeah, and they get to learn the game too, I'm sure.
Exactly. Oh yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, that's dope. That's super dope.
And what about you? Like, how's business been for you since we're midway through November now?
Yeah, so for me, we did good last month. We talked about that last week. $53,000 revenue for the month of October, and that's good. So that's in the past now, though, and now we're focused on moving forward. So one big thing, I kind of got to a point where I was waiting until really next year to get into my third location of the business, but I'm really just about to start it now, because at the end of the day, it's like I got my systems in place, I got all that set up, so now it's just about being able to duplicate that. Now I did it the second time successfully, we're gonna do it the third time and now we'll do it that time, and it's gonna just scale the business even more exponentially. So I'm really just focused on that now. I spent a lot of time in October, and also over the past couple weeks just setting those foundations of the foundation of the things necessary to actually open up another location. So in my SOPs, I have exactly the SOPs for opening up a location too. So I have the SOPs for exactly what needs to be done. I'm telling you, I SOP anything. I've
heard you say that before. I need to SOP that. It's like it's a verb.
I need to SOP that, because if I did it once, it's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
So by the way, SOPs, standard operating procedure. So it's a set of rules for following a certain for following an action. So I did not call Siri. So that's what I'm really focused on now is setting that up. So I think I don't really even have any other targets for the rest of the year as of now. as far as revenue goes, I really want to get a new location established and then see kind of how, because the thing is, in this business, it's almost like every location is different in the sense of like finding people, you have to use a different strategy. Finding customers, the strategy might be different because it's just a different city. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I've been reading a lot about franchising and what that entails in terms of like franchising versus corporate locations, those kinds of things. And I think I'm leaning towards corporate locations, at least early on, because I can control the quality more so in a corporate location as opposed to franchising where I'm licensing it out my brand, which I don't think my brand is equitable enough quite yet for that to be valuable enough for people. I think my SOPs are, and my systems are very valuable, but...
How many pages is that, by the way, now?
Man, 100 or something. I don't know. But I think actually it's probably a little less than 100 actually, because, no, I think it's probably over 100 now. Yeah, it's a lot.
No, I already know.
It's a lot because it's everything, man. And I know there's still so many things I'm missing, because I'd be like, because now I'm thinking of hiring VAs overseas, because it's kind of like I'm just trying different things right now. So I'm kind of experimenting, learning, innovating, and figuring out what really works for certain things. I had to, dude, business is so crazy because like the thing about business early on is like you have to be the CEO, you got to be the CEO, you got to be the CMO, you got to be the CFO, you got to be the CTO, and it's just like, I'm even like having all the technical, because the one thing you don't realize about this business too is like as you expand, even early on, it's like creating a system where people call into your business. There has to be a certain set of technology in place for that. So even learning this technology about phone systems and all this kind of stuff, I'm now on my third phone system that I've switched from. I've literally used 3 different carriers because the other 2 weren't good, and this is it is what it is. Like so many different things I'm learning just along the way, but every time I learn something and I find something that works, I'm so happy and relieved, because it's like, dang, finally something I can SOP and something I can establish as the framework for this is how this is done. Because I can't establish it as a framework until I've experienced it enough to like know, like, okay, this, because like when you're early on, you don't know what really works yet. So you just got to try stuff. But once something works, I'm happy, because then I can establish that as the foundational way to do this. I'm telling you, new problem. I'm always welcoming. I hate problems, which this is, by the way, going to be a segue into what we're going to talk about today. But
for sure,
I hate problems in business, but new problems means new growth and new opportunities. And if you have new problems, that means you're moving forward. So I'm always striving to have new problems in the business, and I think there's a lot of value in just being able to do that and understanding that concept. So.
No, I definitely admire just the way that you approach everything, because I want people to understand that with entrepreneurship, nobody just has everything figured out. We were having this conversation, matter of fact, a couple weeks ago in our Tuesday call we do. We were having the conversation about, do we have it, like somebody had asked us, do we have it all figured out? And I think for a lot of people from the outside perspective, with like somebody that is looking up to us, like listening to the podcast or just watching how we operate, they're gonna be like, those guys have it all figured out. But in reality, like once you see the behind the scenes of like what's really going on, there's a lot of different things that we go through just day to day that we're like, man, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Is there another alternative? Let me try this out. If it doesn't work, I'm trying something else. That's what life is about. That's what entrepreneurship is about. Is figuring out what like going through trial and error. Most people are afraid of that particular saying, trial and error. Everybody's looking for this one size fits all system that works the first time, and they're just able to get into it, and it works just from then on out, and they never have to change it. But it's just a constant do something. If it breaks, evaluate it. Try something else, reevaluate, and then once you finally have established that, that's where you can go SOP. Like, okay, now I've gone through 3 different systems. Now I found the one that works. Now this is going to be the Bible format of how this should go from one location to the next.
Right.
But most people are not willing to do all of that because they, like I said, they're looking for that one size fits all formula.
Yeah, and I think if your vision is big enough and your dream is big enough, you're willing to do it. Like I know, like there's no like that. I don't have another option. Like I have to figure it out. I have to figure out what the solution to this issue is, because I know I have a problem. This is my solution, or maybe it's not my solution. Maybe that's my solution, or that's my solution, or that's my solution. So many different things, but I need to figure out what's my solution so that now I can move past this problem, get into another problem. That now because the more problems you solve, again, the more problems I'm encountering, especially that are newer problems, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, dang, I've never seen this. Oh, that's actually good. I've never seen this. That means it's growth. That means I'm getting somewhere I haven't ever been. So it's very important to look at problems that way in your business. Don't look at, and this is easier said than done. Again, this will be a part of our topic, but it's easier said than done to really look at problems that way, because I think most people, it's like you just don't. Problems are just so negative, and again, maybe you don't even call them problems. Maybe you should just call them something else, like challenges.
Yeah. No.
So because then it doesn't give you the negative connotation. It's just a challenge we need to overcome. A problem, like old boy said, would be losing your legs.
For sure.
A problem would be waking up, and some people will look at a problem like that. It's like, man, that's not even a problem. Oh, I have prosthetics. Right. It was just a challenge. Right, so it's just all about perspective, like you said.
So yeah, it's all about word choice with that. Like sometimes you can look at it as challenges. I want to hit on the fact that you overcoming these new challenges, or like problems, challenges, whatever you want to call them, that actually is going to make your business more valuable. Like every business, every challenge that you're able to overcome in your business and you document it, now that makes your business valuable, because you can tell somebody, we've gone through all of these different challenges. We know how to overcome all of them. If you go to another business and you ask them to do the same thing, they're going to hit a brick wall and they're going to figure it out. We already know how to do it over here. Mm-hmm. That makes it more valuable every time you run. That's why you should welcome a new challenge, because now you say, once I figure this out, my business value goes up.
Yeah, it's almost like because the thing, I always look at my business like, because obviously until your business, I don't know how many people consider their business a part of their net worth in terms of their equity. Mm-hmm. And if it's a private owned company and not a public company, because obviously if I own a share of a company, I consider that stock a part of my equity, right? But if I have a private company, is that like, is the value of that business considered a part of my net worth, right? And I always think about that too. And so I say that to say, it's like every time I solve a problem in my business, I document it, I SOP it. Now my business just became more valuable. My net worth just went up. Yeah. So it's not even like I'm solving a problem. You can even, if you want, think of it more selfishly. Like, yeah, I'm solving this problem so my net worth can go up. Like every time I solve a problem, my net worth goes up, because now my business became more valuable. If I own equity in this business, then that means my net worth goes up. So I always think about that too when I think about my net worth too. It's like, yes, I have this equity in my properties. I have this, crypto over here, but I do have this business that does generate this amount of money, and that is, to a lot of people, a very valuable asset. So if I was to sell it, there's going to be a market value for that. And now I have SOP'd everything in that business. So now it's not just they're inheriting cash flow, they're inheriting a system to manage the cash flow and continue to generate more cash flow. You can't tell me there's not value in that. So now I know every time I document something, every time I SOP something, I want my SOPs to be 500 pages so that I know.
It answers every question that you may have about the business.
Ain't nothing.
That's beautiful, man. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. Anyways, that's business updates. So yes, we have a great, phenomenal topic for y'all today that I'm so excited to get into, because I wanted to talk about this really like a month ago. Mm-hmm. So it's because this is when it first became pertinent. But I'm excited for it. So let's get into it. So, backstory. And this kind of goes back to a little bit of what we talked about earlier, and also what we talked about last episode. So as my business was growing in October, I'm now getting a whole lot of more of customers, and with a whole lot of more of customers comes a whole lot of more Karens. So
can you define Karen for somebody that may just not know what a Karen is?
A Karen, y'all know what a Karen is. Man. Y'all know what a Karen is. We've all seen a Karen. I'm trying to watch how I word this, but Karens are typically those customers that generally they're a little more on the uptight side. They're a little more they don't necessarily care about you. They only care that You know, you serve them. You're there at all times. They're just well, just for the context of this conversation, so I can keep. You know, I want to keep our podcast, you know, worthy of being monetized. we'll just say that it's a difficult customer to deal with.
No doubt.
Let's just say a little rough on the edges. Rough around the edges for the context of this. But offline, come to Patreon and we'll get it real. We don't have a Patreon yet.
For sure.
Anyways, yeah, so a Karen is just a difficult customer. And you know, a lot of people might be thinking it might be a Caucasian woman. Yeah, generally, this is it does tend to look to be that demographic, but sometimes they could be of different descent. They could be of multiple descents. I've seen, you know, African American Karens. You know, you can call them. I'm not going to give them a name, but you can call them what you want. I've seen Hispanic. You can call them whatever. That's beyond the point of the conversation. What were you about to say?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, like I said. More customers. I had over 250 bookings in October, and so what that means, hundreds of different customers. Mm-hmm. Out of those hundreds of different customers, you get a lot of Karens. And I realized this is something I knew about myself, but I super realized it. I definitely realized it last month in October, whenever. You know, it just became it happened so frequently in the sense like because the thing is in my business I don't have enough. Until my ops manager is full time, I still have to deal with some of these kinds of customer service issues. And so, for me, the more and more I dealt with that, the more I realized that I absolutely hate dealing with these people, and I need to get out of this as soon as I can. Mm-hmm. And I've known that about myself because if I asked you, and if I said, Marlon, is Alex someone that is generally going to be more lenient towards being a, customer service guy, or is he going to be more lenient towards, something like, I don't know, investor relations or chief financial officer or, even marketing? Which would you say Alex is more lenient?
Based on my limited knowledge of Alex, very, very small scope, I would probably say he's gonna lean. He loves people. Like he loves. I mean, come on, bro. Like I think everybody else that watches knows. Like you're gonna be about your business, and you want to make sure that you get. Like you bottom line oriented. Like as far as the people, that comes with the business, not necessarily something that's right now where you're getting into the business for. Is like having to deal with customers. That's not gonna be your first thing. That's not the first love. So, yeah. So you're gonna be the investor relations guy that's looking to the visionary that's. Sees a bigger picture and is trying to build something with investors, different opportunities, things like that.
Well, I would happen to agree.
Just on the small, just from my limited knowledge, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I would happen to agree with that sentiment because for me, I realize I absolutely hate that aspect of business. I hate customer service. I hate it.
Just being honest, bro.
I hate it. It's like it's something I dread. So that was the first thing I hired out in the business, right? Because I just don't like dealing with people on that level, like consumers. I'll just say that. It's different. It's not that I don't like dealing with people. I don't like dealing with consumers because the mindset of a consumer is just so. Yeah. It's so like, oh Lord, it's awful. Like people are last minute. People are very selfish. People are very uptight. People are very just angry. People are very mean. I just don't like dealing with these kind of people. And a majority of people aren't like that. Mm-hmm. But the few that are enough to make me not want to do it.
No doubt. That's big.
I hate it. And so I have a dilemma though. Because the thing about my business is that it's a very customer service oriented business. Any service based business is in the name. Customer service is going to be very important. The way you treat people, the way you handle those kinds of things is going to be very important, right? If someone calls my business looking to get their home cleaned, someone calls our operations manager, someone calls anyone on our staff, they're going to be wanting to treat it. They're going to want to be treated with the utmost respect and just amazing. They want ChickfilA level service, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm the one always answering the calls, all those things, I'm not able to do that all the time because sometimes I'm just irritated with some of these people. They just irritate me, and it's hard for me to provide the level of customer service that I want our business to be able to exhibit and to always provide, regardless of how nasty people are. I want there to be a certain quality level of customer service because I know that's part of the customer experience, and I know that's what people are buying. They're buying experience. And so from A to Z, from the time they call to the time someone leaves their house after they get their house clean, I want it to be a seamless customer service experience. So, in fact, I even set the goal, one of the mission statement of my company, I want to be highest rated in customer satisfaction in the country. And so, because I know how much value there is in that. Because why do I know that's valuable? It's because when you go to Chick-fil-A, you notice the customer service, and it makes you come back. I mean, the food is good too, but you know that is one big reason people love Chick-fil-A. Have you ever been to Chick-fil-A and you received bad service? It's never happened. So the reason I'm in a dilemma is because I have this goal to be this level of, you know, customer service, have this level, but at the same time, I'm not that type of person. Mm-hmm. So I'm not that type of person that is able to provide that quality all the time as much as I want. I can set the framework and I can set the SOP, but I actually don't want to do it. So, and this is going to lead to the topic that we're going to talk about. It's like, I have to know whether, or I have to know myself in entrepreneurship. I have to know myself in business. Because if I don't know myself and I'm out here providing customer service for people, and I actually hate customer service and I hate dealing with people, I'm not going to be providing the level of quality I'm not going to be providing the quality service that I want to, or I need to be exhibiting in order to reach my vision for the company, right? And so what does that mean? That means I need to understand, if I can't do it, I need to put someone in place that's better at it than me. So by knowing myself, I know exactly what I need to do in my business, right? I know that I have to hire somebody else that's better than me to be a customer service manager. Like, they need to oversee all of that, right? Because that's just not my strong suit, right? So I need to be able to understand that. And I'm gonna let you go, but you know, there's so many things I want to get into with this, but I don't know, what are your thoughts on that whole concept of just like knowing yourself in entrepreneurship and understanding that there's just certain things that you just have to hire out, because we aren't able, we want to do everything, or no, we don't want to do it. We want to provide a certain service or product, but at the same time, we have to understand not everything is our strength. Right. So I don't know. What do you think about it?
First of all, I love this whole story because I reflected back to one of the comments one of the reviews that somebody left for us. They said they love how well that our personalities mesh together, because they like the different way that we approach situations, like the different things that like make us that we value. But even though we still have like the same overall goal, but we move differently. So customer service is something that's almost effortless for me. My dad raves about, like, because our thing with the rental car business is, I always tell people I run a 5-star experience to people through rental cars. Right. And anytime somebody is messaging us, I'm the person who handles the messages. My dad doesn't even bother with that, because he's like, go ahead and give your 5 stars to him, give your 5-star experience to him. So understand that everybody in the business has strengths and weaknesses, and nobody's immune to that, because I think I actually gave a talk to my mom and her crew before. Like she has like a whole business where she has different like people in her business that she wants to help empower them to run their own business too. I was talking to them one time, and I said, if you want to have longevity in your business, you have to identify your, I called it a task. Like the task in your business that makes you go, like if you do that several times, every time you do a certain thing in your business, that needs to be hired out. Automatic. Like when you start listing out things you do in your business, identify what those tasks are for you, because that's going to be the thing that's going to be to the demise of your business, because you're doing that thing. Your business is going to suffer because you are doing that particular aspect of the business, because you don't like doing it in the first place. And if your business is to thrive, you need to find people who are the best person for that position. Not necessarily because you can do everything, but that doesn't mean you're the best at everything. And so, like, I think to your point, that is 1,000% like the way that you should go. Like you said, you're in the dilemma. It's a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah.
Like somebody, I know that I'm not. That takes a level of self-awareness too, because you have to truly identify. Well, first tell yourself, I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at everything. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. I know what I like to do and I know what I don't like to do. For those things I don't like to do, for those things I'm not good at, I need other people. Being humble enough to say I can't do everything by myself, and I need to expand this team in order for the betterment of the entire company. And so I think that's the major thing that people need to take away is that just understand that you have to expand beyond you, because you're not going to be good at everything within the business. And like just to your point, you are going to hate every last minute of the business as a whole if you continue to do it for a prolonged amount of time and start scaling the volume, especially.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like you can do it at some point. And the thing is, I don't want to make a understatement or overstatement. I don't know what the context that'd be, but it's not to say like that I'm bad at customer service. I just don't like doing it. Like if I for the sake of my business, I suck it up and I do it and I do it the way it should be done. I absolutely hate it and it drives me crazy, right? And so I think what you said though was you had a great point in the sense of like understanding. I think self-awareness is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because and that's what it goes back to a concept I absolutely love of emotional intelligence. So I started studying this whole concept of emotional intelligence in 2019 in that summer after just kind of like, if you're always in personal development, you're always seeking to grow, you're gonna learn about emotional intelligence, you're gonna discover it, and you're gonna identify it. And so with emotional intelligence comes there's two aspects to it, right? So you have your self-competence and you have social competence, right? So with self-competence, there's two components within there. You have your self-awareness and you have your self-management. Correct. Right? And so with self-awareness, it's understanding your tendencies and knowing, I think these two is the most important things, is number one, understanding your tendencies and knowing what gets a reaction out of you, right?
Yeah. That's
and
big.
what really triggers you and what really makes you upset, right? There's that aspect of it, because number one, when you know your tendencies, that's going to help you, number one, mold how your life should be in general, and also mold the people that need to be around you. Mm-hmm. So I know me personally, if I'm going to, marry a woman, I know the type of personality that I have. I know I'm a type A kind of person. I know I like to, lead in a lot of situations. I know those things about myself. So I know that it's very unlikely that for me, a relationship with a woman that is similar to me, a relationship with a woman that is also type A person, is not going to be very successful because we'll be boxing. I'm just playing.
No, that's a fact though. Like that's how you gonna feel every day.
I'm gonna feel like boxing.
You'll be bald next year.
Man, hey man. So that's why I understand. Like, yo, I couldn't be with a woman like that, because I understand certain things you're gonna do is just gonna make me angry. I would be much more happier if I was with a woman that was okay with submitting, which I know a lot of women hate that word, but don't understand that submission is just it's not like you're being forced to it. It's agreeing to submit to somebody else, which I'm not even gonna get into it. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I understand that type of woman that is wants to be a follower and wants to be on someone else's mission would be more suitable for me, right? I have that understanding about myself, so I'm not gonna go put myself in a situation to go be in competition with another individual that happens to be my spouse, right? So, and the same thing is in business. It's true in business, right? So I know that for me, because I don't necessarily like that aspect, I have the self-awareness to know that certain people can get a reaction out of me in terms of certain consumers and Karens. They can get a reaction out of me. So I know I need to have somebody in place that can handle that and handle it gladly. Someone that enjoys handling that, right? And so that's why hiring my operations manager, that was the first thing I did. And turns out she enjoys this role. She's good at it. And I think also there's something with like, I think people just like talking to women.
Facts, man. That's 1,000%
because
facts.
I just think people be getting mad at me more than they be getting mad at her sometimes. I'll be like, yo, this something's not adding up here. And also it's like, I mean, she's able to, sometimes seems like she gets bookings more easily than me. So it's just like, I don't know. Maybe she's just, I don't know. That's fine. It is what it is. I'm not mad at it. If I personally would rather talk to a woman as well if I was in the position of that consumer. So I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying that she's better at it. And so that I think I understand that. So I have that. I understand my tendencies, and I have the self-awareness, and I know what gets a reaction out of me. And so I know I need to put certain things in place to manage that. That's not me. And people need to understand that whole aspect of business, because you're not able to do it. Like if you know that you're not good with, like, I'm using me as an example, but this is applicable to anything. If you know that you're not good with, financial analysis and, understanding, reading spreadsheets and doing these kinds of things, right? You need to hire someone to do your bookkeeping. You need to hire an accountant immediately, or a bookkeeper at least immediately, right? Just don't do it yourself, because again, like you said, it will be the demise of your business. That would be the downfall of your business, because there's going to be a weak point somewhere. The things you enjoy doing, they should not be your weak point, because you should be gladly doing them, right? I love expanding the business. I love doing my financial analysis and my bookkeeping stuff. I love that. Like, that part is, that's solid. Don't even worry about that. Don't even ask about it. It's good. Or if you're not good with technology, right, then you probably should not be the one that is managing all your phone systems and all of your, infrastructure and software, right? You should probably hire some IT manager, right? And so, obviously, again, in the beginning of business, because I know a lot of people that listen are new entrepreneurs, so in the beginning, you do everything yourself. There's value in doing everything yourself, because you need to understand how it's done before you delegate it. I've always believed in that before I will do I've done everything in my business. So now I can delegate it, because I know if I'm not, I can't tell someone else how to do it if I've never done it, because then I'm just trusting them blindly, and they could be doing it any type of way, and they might not even be doing it in the way that it should be done. But because I did it in the beginning, and I was doing it in a way that was aligned with my vision and my goal for the business, I was doing it in the way I wanted it to be done. So now I can show them or tell them how I want it to be done, and they can now manage it, because they're more they're more equipped to handle those kinds of things based on their experiences in life, right? And so that is very important to understand whenever you're getting into business in any aspect, in any degree, right? And so don't think it's ever too early to start delegating, right? You need to, even if you're barely making any money, I think you should already have your delegation, how you want it to happen in place, so that once you start making enough money to delegate it, to hire staff or an employee, or even someone that can be an independent contractor and handle something. Now you know exactly, you've set up your SOP for that specific thing. You know exactly how it should be done, and now you can hire it out to that person that should be doing it. So very important. Get some emotional intelligence, get some EQ, understand what your tendencies are, understand your weaknesses, understand what gets a reaction out of you, what are the things you hate doing in your business, and like, the way you operate I can't even say that, because a lot of people operate their marriages and stuff pretty poorly. So I wouldn't even use that example. But in business, this is how you should do it.
No, I think it's, so going back to what you had said from the very beginning, is having that 50% of $1 million versus having 100% of $100,000. A lot of people that are like beginning entrepreneurs that are doing everything in their business, that's very important. Just putting it out there. It's very important to do everything in your business, because you'll be able to document everything and how to do everything properly.
All right.
But there's going to come a time where you're going to start to scale. Once you start to scale, the things that you hated already doing, if you haven't documented it, if you don't get anybody else in place, it's going to magnify how much you hate that. And it's going to start, like I said earlier, being the demise of your business. I'll take our business as an example. For the rental car business with me and my dad, I know the things that I hate in the business. My dad knows the things I hate in the business. So every time he knows I'm doing something that I hate, such as, let's say, a car comes back and it needs maintenance, he knows I'm gonna go crazy because I'm gonna just be sitting there frustrated, mad, pissed off because I'm a guy who is thinking of I think it's like economic, where I'm always thinking return on investment, whether it's return on money investment or return on time in this case. I hate wasting time, and so if I'm doing something as remedial as going to take a car to get a tire replaced or going to get the car cleaned, I look at that as like an undesirable task that I would want to get hired out immediately. My dad loves it. So what you'll find is that everybody has a superpower, is what I like to call it. The things that they do better than anybody else would, and they actually enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
You have somebody in your business that loves to talk to people and socialize, and that's why she's getting conversions in the business. That's why people are converting higher from her doing it. You have the formula. That's why I said you have to do it first as the entrepreneur. You figure out the base structure of how this gets done. Somebody else is going to come in that's an expert in that field, and they're going to make it shine because you were the quarterback that said, this is the play we're running. I'll put you in position to do your superpower the best way possible. And now that's when the business is going to start to scale, but big time, because you're going to, like you said, you got more conversions because she's the one running the route. But you drew up the play, she ran the route, and now you're converting on a higher level. Mm-hmm. That's why I say everybody has a superpower. You have the quarterback has a superpower too. The vision, the relaying the baton or the throwing a ball to her, and like delivering that pass. That was your job. You had to visualize how this company was going to grow, and now you've created an opportunity for her to utilize her superpower. And now this is how the business continues to scale. And when you start putting everybody in the right places, so that's my biggest thing, is that you need to leverage your superpower, but at least in the very beginning of time, figure out how everything runs in the business. Because once you figure that out, now you can start giving somebody a ABC formula of how to do this the right way, and how they can leverage just their natural gifts and abilities to do it way better than you ever could.
Yeah, and I think that's super key too, because in business, like I don't think that it necessarily matters that people necessarily to a certain degree. There's certain things in business, like, you don't necessarily need to have a previous skill or expertise in this specific field that I need you to do something in, because I have already set up the system for you to do it. So I've set it up in a way that's going to make you look like a superstar. So I don't need someone that was already a superstar. I can make a regular, ordinary person look like a superstar because they're operating it under my system.
Exactly.
And under my principles and my SOPs, right? And so I can sit here and say, like, dang, man, like, yo, she killing it. She doing all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, she is. She's doing it according to the way that, I set it up. And combine that with her natural tendency and her natural gift, or this person's natural gift, then you're going to see them flourish. And that's what it is to empower somebody. Yep. Right? You're putting them in a position to succeed. I am empowering you to succeed. Like, I'm not going to put you in a position to fail, because I know if I hire someone that's like me, they're going to even do worse because it's not even their own business.
Right, now they have less investment into it.
Yeah, at least me, I absolutely hate dealing with some of these people, but I'm never going to sit here and curse them out or scream at them, or I've screamed a couple times, but it was warranted.
Probably not. No, I've heard a few of these messages.
Some people are nuts, but still, I know it's like, some things it's like I even know that sometimes I have to like kind of fall back and not say what I want to say, because at the end of the day is you gotta think long term, and reacting emotionally sometimes, or reacting how I want to react, is gonna put me in a bad position. So anyways, I'm not gonna hire someone that's the same way as me. You can't just hire anyone. You have to hire people that are going to be good in that specific role, and that's what it is to be an entrepreneur. That's what it means. You have to put people in a position to be able to succeed. And I think it's so hard for a lot of people to do that, because they want to, again, like you said, you got to understand that hiring people and delegating people and doing, and this is not even what this whole episode is about. Like, it's not saying to go hire people. It's really the premise is to understand yourself and know yourself. But with that means gonna come hiring people, because you understand you're not good at everything and you don't want to do everything. If you love doing everything, then by all means, grow a 10K a month business and do everything, because you can love to do everything and do everything correctly, but at the same time, it's still not going to scale as the way you want to if you're not going to hire a delegate.
Yeah, I know you don't want to go that route too much, but I think this just highlights the importance of why you should hire based on need rather than proximity.
Yeah,
because a lot of people, just like you said, you're not going to hire somebody like yourself. But if you had somebody that was like, just say somebody in your family, for instance, that that may want to that you may think can help you in the business, just as far as based on proximity, like you want to, it's like ask for a helping hand from a sister, from parents or whatever, and want them to run in your business. They may not be the best fit for that position that you're putting them in, and oftentimes you may be putting them. See, in this case, it's a whole different mentality, because I can't even use you as an example because you wouldn't do this. But a lot of entrepreneurs will hire based on proximity, meaning that they don't care what the person's superpower is. They're not even trying to go that deep into it. They just need a body to fill this position. And lots of more times than not, that's going to be the demise of your business, because now you're not even putting nobody in position to utilize their superpower to propel your business forward. You're just going to ask them to do a whole bunch of random tasks in your business to help. Like, you can probably hire them as a general assistant as opposed to a specific role like an operations manager who handles phone calls, because they're good at communicating with people. So there's two totally different ways of approaching hiring somebody, and the right way is by starting off with identifying where is your weak point, and knowing yourself, figuring out what you do great in your business, figuring out what you don't do great in your business, and then targeting the things that you don't do great, so that way you can focus on what you do great, focus on what you do great, focus on what you do great, what you do great, in order to continue to grow it.
Do great. Yeah. do great.
Yeah.
No, but that's real though, because I think of, like, man, Chick-fil-A is such a great example of this, because, the thing about Chick-fil-A is, like, I don't understand, like, how they're able to hire the people that they hire and still get the same result all the time. Like, I mean, I understand how they do it, but it's almost like, because the thing is, they have an SOP and they have a way to treat, like, they have a way to, like, do things like, saying my pleasure and these kinds of things. But it's almost like all the people you interact with at Chick-fil-A are so happy to be there. And it's so crazy. And I think a lot of that has to do with how they are selecting people and how they interview people. And like I said, like, I'm hiring you, like, I'm meeting you and I'm hiring you. And when I'm interviewing you, I'm seeing if you're fit for this job. I'm not just taking the first person to come to offer. I'm like seeing, are you actually fit for this position? Are you fit to work at Chick-fil-A? Because I probably wouldn't be fit to work at Chick-fil-A. Like, they would. I don't know. Maybe because it's just crazy to me. How does Chick-fil-A never have a mad employee?
That's a fact,
how is no one ever cussing me out at Chick-fil-A when I know people go up there still talking crazy? Because I know there's Karens out there at Chick-fil-A. I know there's consumers out there. Sorry if your name is Karen, by the way. But I'm sure you've dealt with this before. But I know consumers. I know people. People are crazy. So the fact, like, that Chick-fil-A can hire these people and they can still, operate in their natural way, or pleasantly, it's crazy to me. I'm low-key might need to go start recruiting people at Chick-fil-A, because it's just nuts.
When you first said that, because I haven't heard it before, but I first thought they, like, just the way that you operate as a business is going to attract people that
no, that is like real.
I started thinking that at first, but I think it's twofold though. First off, you're going to attract the people that are right for your business based on, because they see the value that you give and they want to be a part of that vision. Yeah, I think that's one thing.
And also, real quick, people that know they won't fit in that vision don't even go.
That's
apply.
big too.
Because if I know, like, I know I don't fit at Chick-fil-A. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm probably acting a little extreme, but, like, generally speaking, I'm more Popeyes than Chick-fil-A. I would be more of a Popeyes.
Popeyes ain't performing.
I would be more of a Popeyes cashier than a Chick-fil-A cashier. If I had to be keeping it 100, I'm more of a Popeyes cashier. So,
boy, that's hilarious.
No, but that's real. So that's it's like real. I know I'm not. if I had to pick, like, if I had a job application,
I would
at
dominate
Popeyes,
at Popeyes. I mean, that's not Popeyes. I'd dominate at Chick-fil-A.
Hey man, you would. And so that's just like, I think that's what you said though is a point, because the people that know they are gonna be good at Chick-fil-A, you're gonna go apply. You're like, oh yeah, I like the environment, I like the culture. It's like super cool. I like that how they treat customers. I would be good at that. Me,
So yes, I think first off is establishing that culture, so people from the outside are going to see that. But the second point that you started bringing up, and I said that's really good actually, is that the interview process is also SOP.
Yeah. 100%.
So they're looking for a certain type of person so they're only gonna let certain people through the door. Everybody has to go through the interview process because we know the standard that we want to uphold, and we're looking for subtle cues before you even get through to even let you through the door. So because we know that everybody that comes through here is not going to, everybody that's looking to apply is not going to be a good fit, and we're only looking for people that can fit this company culture. And I think that's why it's, like you said, SOP everything, even the hiring process, because there's going to be commonalities between once you get like thousands of applicants, you're going to start seeing commonalities. You're going to start seeing the red flags come up more frequently, and you'll be able to catch them. And I think that's definitely going to come just through hiring so many people over time, and then learning the tendencies that this person does this type of thing, like this person only lasts as far as a customer service for this long before they start reverting back to their old ways. I think that's always going to be one of the biggest challenges with business is identifying a bad egg before you even let them in. But
you're never going to catch them all. But I know with Chick-fil-A, it's like I'm sure they look at how long were you at your previous few customer service jobs.
Right.
Like were you there like bouncing around like or I'm sure they look at history like this person was at Popeyes. No, this person was at McDonald's. No. You're not coming to Chick-fil-A. You're not bringing that culture here. You're not tainting us. So I'm sure all of that is definitely part of the SOPs, because there's no way they get and deliver that same quality service of customer service all throughout the country, always, no matter where you go, no matter what time, and by the way, these are 18-year-old kids, so it's even another layer of complexity. So man, I honestly, I was even thinking of a few months ago, I was like, I might low-key go get a job at Chick-fil-A just so I can learn their customer service, and so I can figure out what the heck are they doing that I can do. But I feel like a lot of it is just because, again, they attract those certain people because they've established it. So a lot of it is almost like a network effect, because once you establish that certain type of brand or that certain type of I don't even know how to say it, like you're known for this in the marketplace, then you're only gonna, for the most part, the people that majority of people you will attract will be that people, because again, most Popeyes people aren't going to apply at Chick-fil-A.
I honestly don't think it's a bad idea though, because a lot of people
have time.
Yeah, I mean that's why you keep on hiring out more stuff, so you can buy yourself a little bit more time. But that's a good. I say it's a good idea. I tell people that all the time for the rental car business. If you want to learn how to do great customer service, go. Why not? Why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? There's so many people that do great customer service on a day-to-day basis. So what you can do in the rental car business is you can go book a car from somebody that is an all-star host that has thousands of trips. You can book a car from us if you want to, and you can see our processes. You can see, just like it's gonna be a small aspect of it, but you're gonna see how we communicate. You're gonna see, you're gonna start seeing more of why people rave about this business the way that they do. Because there's systems and processes that are in place that other businesses are not doing.
Yeah.
That you're only going to be privy to if you actually work with that company for a second.
Right.
So.
And by the way, this isn't only because I know we've been talking in a whole lunch in the sense of like customer service and stuff, but this is applicable to any aspect of business. Like I said earlier, if it's financial analysis and bookkeeping, like that you need to understand that aspect and hiring that out. If it's IT or tech, technology or tech management, then you need to hire that out, right? Whatever it is, marketing, you need to understand that. Try yourself, hire that out, right? And you can, all the things we're saying, you can apply it directly to that. The point of all of this is to understand who you are as an entrepreneur, understand what, get that emotional intelligence, EQ, and get self-awareness, understand what makes you angry, understand what you do not like doing, and build your business around those strengths and weaknesses. Don't just go with the flow and just do stuff. And this is, by the way, regardless of if you're in real estate, regardless of if you're in any business, this is going to be applicable because people are a part of every business. And when people are a part of a business, and by the way, when I say people, it includes you, then this is going to be applicable because you need to understand yourself just in the same way you have to understand people. And in order to deal with people successfully, you need to have systems set up around those people because people are wild cards. Consumers especially are very much so wild cards, and you cannot manage them or deal with them as much as we would like to because these Karens, they are very, 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 very annoying. So yeah. But yeah, I think that was a good conversation just in that regard. I think we can kind of transition now into our next segment of the show, which will be our listener questions.
Yes, sir.
How can I be successful? How can I follow the path that someone else has laid for me to be successful?
Ask the Monopolizers.
So we have 2 questions this week again. Just like last week, I think we'll probably, every time we have solo episodes, we'll do 2 questions. So, Marlon, what is our first question of the week?
So, since we're going to shout out the people who, matter of fact, if anybody's looking to answer questions on the podcast, first of all, definitely leave them so go to our Instagram page. You can answer questions just through our DMs, and we'll definitely try to shout you on the podcast.
Don't DM me, DM the Money Monopolizers.
For sure. Page. If you don't want your name shouted out personally, just leave the word anonymous along with it, and we can just answer the question. But we got one from Leon Cypher. He says, "Where do I begin? Who can I trust? And if this doesn't work, I will be homeless. And so, is it still worth it?"
First of all, Leon, that is a very broad question that is very hard to understand. But what does it say? Wait, where do I begin? Where do you begin? What? Okay, I assume he's talking about starting up this journey to financial freedom, right? Mm-hmm. Who can I trust? I don't know what you mean in that regard. Who can I trust? I guess that is. I honestly don't know what that means. But if this doesn't work, I'll be homeless. Is it worth it? So I don't know. How would you answer this question that is very hard to decrypt?
I'm gonna do my best to answer it based on the limited questions that we have. So where do I begin? I'm gonna assume that you're talking about whether it's business or some type of investing. Of course, I think we said this before, but it's always important to begin with self-education. And the reason I say that is because you can go into any particular field and just try to jump into it without knowing anything. But what you're going to experience is a whole bunch of lost money and lost time. Because of the fact that you don't have any backing of knowledge of this new field. You've been trained for probably 18 plus years on how to become a great employee for somebody else's business, on how to do your job or whatever that may be. But if you're trying to pursue entrepreneurship, business, investing, those have not been things that have necessarily been taught within your household or within school systems. So you have to educate yourself in that particular aspect of life before you jump into it. And so that's going to at least eliminate some of your concerns about, you said, being homeless. Because if you know the right steps to take, now the risk has lessened for you, and now it'll just be more about you taking the right actions and learning along the way, and then just picking yourself back up and overcoming those obstacles when they do arise. Because you're not going to learn everything, but you at least know enough that you won't become homeless immediately. Like, you're going to be able to withstand some obstacles and know how to get over them.
Yeah, first of all, I would say if your options are start this business or become homeless, do not start the business.
Facts.
You're not ready, because that should not be, like, the thing about business, it shouldn't be your last alternative. Like, this is not be your hope of survival or financial freedom should not be starting this business. Because if you're a new entrepreneur, that's almost guaranteed failure that you will become homeless. Because number one, it's like someone saying, hey, I saved up all my money to put into, your course or whatever case may be. Should I get it? And it's like, no, I would tell you not to get it, because you don't know what you don't know yet. And it's going to take, number one, more money than what you have. So if homelessness is the alternative, you need to first work on your personal financial situation so that you can afford to lose. Because the thing about business is that you need to have some level of margin or some room for error. You need to be able to lose and be okay to some degree. Like, we always talk about, you know, the level of risk that you're able to take. Like I said, I'm 25, no kids, no wife, thank God. I'm able to take a high amount of risk and not see any really, you know, terrible consequences or ramifications from that. If you're in a position where you're going to be homeless, if you take a risk, you're not in a position to take much risk. So you need to first build up your personal financial situation. If that means getting a better paying job, or if that means getting out of debt, or if that means, you know, just lowering your monthly expenses, that's what needs to happen first before you do anything. And then once you do that, then it's self-education. And by the way, self-education about personal finances might be the first step, right? But once, let's say you've got the personal finances done, then self-education is going to be the next thing that you're going to have to focus on, because at that point, self-education is going to be literally the only way you're going to be able to learn what you need to learn in business. There's no school for this. So self-education through books, podcasts, and courses is always my number one recommended routes for education. You need to become an autodidact and just immerse yourself in as much knowledge as you possibly can about different fields, so you can figure out what you want to do, and then you can go into that and spend money investing into that. But do not spend money on a course or on any investment if your alternative is homelessness, because I can almost guarantee you, if you're in that position, that means you have not yet invested into your self-education, so it's almost a guaranteed failure. So, Leon, that would be my advice. Next question, who we got it from?
Yes, sir. So I had to go pull up another one because we got another one on Instagram. So this is from Wale.42. He said, "What's your advice for people who are 18 but seeking financial freedom?" So, first of all, shout out to anybody that's listening that's under like that's still in like high school, because I just know that I just see how the culture is changing and how people are just, like, taking heed of this information sooner and sooner. So I just know that the culture is changing slowly but surely, and like this generation and beyond is going to be totally set up. But
some people.
Yes.
Others will be very, very upset, and it's very sad. But go ahead.
But yeah, so seeking financial freedom at age 18. I hate to keep saying to keep beating that dead horse with like the education piece. I would try to really find a mentor, to be honest. I know that you might have a mentor with us, like, but whatever you're seeking right now, understand that is for one, you're at an age where it's a golden opportunity for you to have the most amount of mentorship ever. Like we talked about at the very beginning of the episode, us being 25, us being like looking as young as we do, we actually attract mentorship because we're doing actions right now, and people love seeing the drive that you have at that age, because it's going to remind them of themselves. It's going to really motivate them to do more because they see that there is some hope in the world. So I would, depending on what you want to get into, because that's kind of also another thing, is that we don't know what type of business you're trying to get into, whether you're trying to get into real estate or whatever. So I would try to find a model, whether it's a one-on-one mentor or a digital mentor. I think you need to find that person that can that you can model after, and then try to do what you can in order to start implementing that into your own business for yourself.
Yes, sir. I totally agree with that. So we will transition into our last segment, which is going to be our financial freedom action items.
Yep.
We gave you the game. You can
Take it or leave it.
The number one action item I'll give you based on everything we said is to go read the book Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
Thanks.
Great book by Travis Bradbury. Go read that book. Read it. It's easy book. It should take you 1 to 2 days to read. Go read it, consume it, and you can apply this to everything in your life. This has made me, a lot better of a person that can understand myself and understand other people. There's so many components to emotional intelligence, and I think that's going to change your life drastically in terms of the relationships that you have.
Yep, and my thing would be just to identify your task in your business. The things that you hate doing the most, things that you would dread doing, identify those, and then know that that's going to be the first thing you need to hire out in order to have sustainability in your business.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, yes, that is it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. New episodes will be released every Thursday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, we'd appreciate if you rated us 5 stars and left us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also find out more info about us on IG at Money Monopolizer, Twitter at the Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that's going to keep you engaged. So be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we are out of here.
You've been listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. To learn more about how you can be in control of your money, visit moneymonopolizers.com. We'll catch you next time when Alex and Marlon share more personal finance and wealth creation tips with you. Now it's time to take action.